You okay?
Yeah. Is it recording?
Oh, we have to get her.
I can't.
There's one here.
Okay, can we give Cathy that seat right there?
It's too tall for her. Give her.
Okay.
Obscure me, and I have to be like, oh,
Yeah, you have to be there. No. So this is the toast for Cathy.
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
But I just wanted to welcome everybody, and I just want to say a few things, and then I actually have something from Jeff I want to read, and then we'll have DT, and then your lovely department. But, you know, I met Cathy 15 years ago when I started here, and I don't even know if you remember, but we were actually at Adeline's house at like a, I don't know if it was a Christmas gathering.
we used to have it every year.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I was new and I didn't really know very many people, and I ended up sitting on the piano bench with Cathy, and we had this really, you know, deep conversation over wine, and I didn't realize that was the first of many, many conversations over wine that we would have. And so, you know, I've known her more as a friend over all these years, and we've had so many fun experiences in New Orleans and all those retreats we did, and there was always wine involved. Even our Spanish class had wine involved.
Oh, my goodness.
So
That's the best way to study Spanish, by the way.
we didn't learn anything, but we had a lot of fun. But, you know, but I'll tell you, you know, Cathy always in all those years has such a smile and a laugh and always happy and, you know, just infectious to everybody. And it wasn't until I became the Dean of School of Business Arts and Media that I got to really see what she does in the classroom. You know, we don't always see what each other does. We just, you know, hear, oh, they're great. And I got to see her Convergence project last spring that just won an award, and I had to write it down so I don't forget, the Silver Davy Award for websites in the social responsibility category, which she's won several times. But,
Yeah, that deserves it.
I heard about this Convergence project, you know, a lot, and but I never really got to experience till I sat there. And you know, the amount of hours that Cathy puts in is unbelievable. And so this year, when we started, Jerry and I started talking about, okay, you know, we have to replace her, and I saw everything she did. I said, there's no way we're going to get anybody that's ever going to come in and do all this. And so she's actually did more than more than a faculty member and a half or two for all the equipment. So, you know, I really am glad I got to see what, you know, how incredible she is with the students. You know, I've been in there in her classroom with the control stuff and everything she does. And so you really, I don't know how the communications department's going to survive. I'm really worried about Jerry. I really don't know how he's going to survive. But I just wanted to say from, on behalf of the School of Business, Arts and Media, me especially, we are really, really going to miss you.
Yeah, I'm a flower babe. I just love flowers.
That's for her garden. Although, I will, full disclosure, I had Kim put that. I can't do that. So,
Really?
Yeah. Yes. Kim's amazing. So Jeff couldn't be here, as we know he's in Brazil, so he asked me, he wrote, you know, some
Remarks?
for your remarks, and so he wanted me to read it. So, dear Cathy, words cannot express the contribution that Cathy Yungmann has made to Cabrini University. That's mostly because she did such incredible and awesome things so quietly and without a care for her own attention. Cathy always gave the attention to her students, even though she led so many amazing projects at Cabrini. The Cabrini Communications Department would not be the same without her. She has taken us to a new level in technology and video production during a time of incredible change in this area. And she modernized the department while staying true to the Cabrini charism and mission in a deeply profound way. Through her Senior Convergence project, she has helped the world to see how Cabrini students and faculty can change the world. Cathy, I hope you know that you have changed the lives of many, many students, but you've also changed the lives of all of the faculty and staff that you have worked with. I will especially remember traveling to New Orleans with Cathy and getting my head rubbed.
I
That
told
was
Jeff
after a little bit of wine.
I told Jeff he was Buddha, and I was rubbing it for good luck.
The entire time, every time she got here. It was a little disturbing, but again, I'm sorry I can't be there, but know that I wish you all the best, Cathy. We will miss your infectious laughter and your student-centered dedication. Thank you for all you've done. Many blessings to you on the road ahead. Now I'd like to turn it over to DT for a few remarks.
I have a card. I wrote you something.
Thank you.
That. And then, so wow, this is twice in the same week. We had Nancy Hutchison, 27 years on Wednesday, and Cathy with 34, so they both survived and thrived 5 presidencies. Presidents here, and everybody comes and goes, but the faculty, I stay and never leave. And so I'll never forget. So the summer that Alicia and Seth and I moved here, I was going around meeting with all the senior faculty. And the very first senior faculty members I met with were Cathy and Jerry. And they didn't want me to meet in their offices like I did everyone else. They wanted to meet and take me through the comm wing and through their labs and then work. And so, you know, Cathy was just so full of energy and passion. She was like an Energizer bunny there. I was about an hour. She's bouncing all over. She's taking me in, you know, in there with all the equipment. She's showing me everything, and she's telling me that Comcast uses the studios twice a week, and then she's telling me about all these great projects. And then she took me down by, I remember, the display cabinets and just spoke about all the honors and awards that the students, the projects, the department. And during that hour, Cathy never once, right, said anything about herself. The entire time was about their work, the department's work, the students' work, the projects, all of these accolades, you know, and awards, and I'm like, that's so Cabrinian, right? And so thank you again for everything you do. I've met so many of your students in the 3 years. The students love her, right? The alums, so many of them, you know, they talk about those capstone courses, and they're crazy about you. So I see, you know, Sharon's here, and Adeline, and Shirley. So I think pretty much all of the faculty who have retired in my 3 years here, Joe and Ruby and Carol and Tony and Sharon, they're still here. I see them all. They're still part of the DNA, the fabric. They won't go away, you know. And so there's something about the place that gets in your blood, you know. And so I told the students when they were sad, and I said, "She's not going anywhere." You know. I say she needs a respite for these 2 faculty jobs that she's been doing the last 34 years. So I'm fully confident that we'll still see you here and engaged and everything, and so thank you for everything. It's great having your family here, your sister and her mother and her husband and her son and all, and so it's a lot of times it's great for the families to be able to see. A lot of families just they don't get really the impact that their loved ones have on the institution and the students. So that's really neat. So I'm so happy for you. And we have Mary Scott. We'll get a picture come up, so I'll give you one of Gus's masterpieces.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Very nice.
I'm taking it back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, the moment we've been waiting for, the people that know a little version of Cathy and know the most stories about her.
Oh, no.
Jerry
They're not true.
and the
Now the real fun begins.
Dawn, 2 of our alumni who work in our department now, Dawn and Jill, are going to come up, and then I'm going to say a few words, and then, of course, what would be something with Cathy without a video that we're going to show, which many alumni who are paying a tribute to her. And we have a short version, and we also have a long version. Dawn?
Mary leaned over to me and said, I better not cry, but I'm going to grab this. Just in case. Okay. So I just want you to picture for a minute that it's 1989, okay? And in 1989, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was top of the box office, and Paula Abdul and Phil Collins were dominating the radio. And that was the year that I, Dawn Tiberio at that time, entered into Cabrini College as a first-year student. And that was also the year that I met Cathy Yungmann. I started here and heard all her stories. So she was full of stories about her career in television. And she was always frank about her successes and her struggles as the first female TV producer in Philadelphia. And we got to hear as students the good, the bad, the ugly, unvarnished. We heard it from Cathy. And she would constantly reference her career and make sure that as students she was preparing us both intellectually and technically for the workforce, but also making sure professionally that we were ready for the highly competitive and demanding workforce we were about to meet. This was especially meaningful to me because I was a first-generation college student, and I came from a family where women did not work. And I would listen to Cathy's stories, and I would sit there rapt, and think about, like, wow, the life that she led, this is a possibility for me. The women in my family, they didn't work outside the home, they didn't go to higher ed, they certainly didn't have professional careers, and so Cathy was my role model, my first female role model. I'm not crying.
We'll cry for you.
But she was like a strong, woman of conviction, a lot of moxie. She still has her moxie, And she gave me a new lens through which to see myself, which was really important. And she's cultivated that lens and continues to do so today. So I just have 2 examples to share with you of how she's done that. In my junior year here at Cabrini, she learned of a national video competition, and she urged me to apply. Now, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And she said, "You can do this." And so I did. I worked with Cathy, and I also worked with my my future husband, Dan Francis, who's here holding the But Dan was a comm student too, and so Cathy and Dan and I went to interview Mother Ursula, our college's foundress, for this video. And I wound up winning that competition and landing a husband in the process. So you can just see Cathy's influence at work. And more recently, just 2 years ago, Cathy forwarded me a call for a for a presentation, I should say, a conference presentation at our discipline's annual conference. And again, with her prompting, she said, "You can do this, you should apply." And she coached me through that application process, and my panel was accepted. And again, she helped me see what I didn't see that I was capable of. And so now it's time to say farewell to Cathy, at least on a day-to-day basis. And she's my role model and friend. And I just don't know if I can do this,
You can do that.
Yeah. I just said, like countless times before, I know she'll give me a hug and say, "I can do this." Thanks.
Great. Could Jill come up? I don't see Jill. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jill.
Hi, Jill.
Hello. I was Cathy's student from 2005 to 2009. So I got to interact with Cathy on a student basis, and then as a mentor after I graduated, and now as a friend and a colleague. So, Cathy, you've always been a second mom to me. First, I was your student, and you were my professor. But it was always more than that. You allowed us to be creative, and you always pushed us outside of our boxes and to think big, and you allowed us to dream so big that we started a whole new practicum and then a class, and it's still here today, and without you, that would never have happened. My fondest memories of you take place my senior year. So, and those times include the time we took an Amtrak train from Philadelphia to North Carolina, where the only cool thing to do was to go to a super Walmart and walk around, or to go to the tobacco farm and see the museum, and it was crazy, and it was the weirdest trip I ever took. But I have you to thank for that. And you know, we were the first trip to go to Guatemala together, and you were my mom, and my mom is still so thankful that you were there, because I had a mom and a dad on trip. And I wasn't just going off and figuring out things on my own. I had my at-school parents there. And you worked alongside of us, which was really nice. You weren't just dictating and telling us what to do. You were saying, you know, here, we're going to do this together, and we did it. And we have those clips. And then when we came back, we had only a short amount of time before we could get that Convergence website up and done. And so we spent many a nights in those edit bays together till 1, 2, 3 a.m. And then you were back at it at 9 a.m. the next morning. What I liked most about you as a professor was that you cut the crap. You told it how it was. You kept it really real with us. And when something was bad, you said it. That was awful. Change it. Fix it. But when something was really great, you told us that it was really great and that we had the potential to do even greater things than what we had accomplished already. You leveled with us as students. You treated us like we were your own children, and really wanted us to produce these great pieces of work and to do things outside of school. I am so thankful that I found myself back at Cabrini, and I'm working alongside you. I've learned more about myself in these past 2.5 years that I've been working with you than I ever have in, you know, my whole life. So I really am proud of that. You've celebrated professional and personal achievements, and you've also been a shoulder to cry on when things have not been going well for me. You've challenged my ways of thinking and have pushed me to go above and beyond in everything that I do, and for that I really do thank you. Cabrini has always been home for me, and I really do believe it's because I had a second mom, and I had somebody who was always looking out for me. I wish you the best in your retirement, but please do not change your cell phone number. I am going to need you for advice, I am going to need you for guidance, and I'm going to need to hear that laugh. So please, congratulations, Mom, I mean Cathy. Maybe. Only if you promise it would be that fun.
Thank you, Jill. I feel like Santa's coming next. Oh.
So 35 years we've worked together. Who would imagine? We both have 2 boys. One of Cathy's is here with us. And they're both about the same age, and so we've raised our children together. We've done just about everything you can imagine together.
Well, yeah. My husband's back
That's funny. Oh, God.
I love to make
Jerry
friends.
embarrass each other in public, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So, you know, Cathy received tenure in like the early 90s or late 80s, so I've never had a chance to really write a annual review for her in years, in decades. So I'm going to use this chance now to let Dr. Gingrich know what I think. Okay? So, you know, yeah, we've been good friends, but, you know, once in a while there are certain things that kind of get under your skin, but you just can't really let them out. So here they are. So, dear Dr. Gingrich, Professor Cathy Yungmann has been a colleague of mine for 35 years. I have here a list of considerations for her benefit. All the time we tell our students that they have to overcome whatever they have learned about modesty. After all, this is 2016. We stress that they must be their own brand, that they must market themselves relentlessly and have to do relentless self-promotion. Kathy, unfortunately, as you've heard, does not model this style of glory hogging. It is behind the times. How will anyone know that Kathy has been recognized by our National Association for Education and Journalism not once, but twice for the top awards for scholarship and practice? You would never hear it from her, unfortunately. To make matters worse, the number of national or international awards her seniors win year after year for the honors convergence work barely receives attention that it deserves. And I'll skip over the next part because we've just heard from Mary about the International Silver Davy Award. But hey, this is like winning a national championship in the field of communication. We teach marketing communication and social media in this department. And our students have learned that they must spend a lot of time posting selfies about themselves, about their perfect lives, their gorgeous outfits, their leisurely vacations with sun setting behind their margaritas. That, after all, is the glamorous lifestyle of communication that we should model for our students. Again, not Kathy. If I see her one more time crawling around on her hands and knees, pulling cables or pushing ladders 3 times her size, or moving sets around in yet another 7-day work week, I'm going to have to set some parameters if she doesn't realize she needs to project a more sedate and glamorous lifestyle. And, oh yes, she needs to stop saying yes all the time. Just because it's a president, or vice president, or a faculty member, or a department chair, who asked her to do yet one more video project for them, it really shows a serious excess of kindness to always say yes. And finally, the thing that really actually annoys me about her is her laugh. Why is she always trying to cheer us up? Sometimes we just want to be sour and grumpy. Damn it. So, Dr. Gingrich, I'm glad I finally get to settle scores here. Here's my summative evaluation of Cathy Yungmann. She shows too much kindness. She's too self-caring, too self-effacing. She's too caring. She's too much of a team player. She's too generous. And most of all, too much of a friend to us all, and especially to me. Sincerely and gratefully. So, those of you who know me a little bit know I never go to the mall except to the Apple store, but yesterday I found out the court actually has 3 stories. So we have a department present here for Cathy.
Oh, wow.
And if you know anything about her, you know she loves to travel. And we have here a gift from Guatemala, where we've been together, from Kenya, and from maybe a country that she hasn't been to yet that we hope that Ed and she get to go to pretty soon. So here's a present from us and a card. And all those of you who can, we're going to have a video next door. Did you want to say a few words to?
Should I open this first or open it later?
Open it later.
Okay. I'll open it in front of my husband? Is that okay?
Yeah. It's from 10,000 villages.
Wow, I'm kind of blown away, actually. You guys are, all those really kind words. It's really something to hear. So I want to thank all of my fellow faculty members and the administration that's here, and especially my department and my family who's here, my sister, who I taught how to take video with her iPad. And my mom is here too. Yeah. And my husband Ed, next to my son Carl. I discovered how to tell when it's time to retire. So I thought I'd pass this on to you. It's time to retire when your office gets so full of stuff that there's no more room. And you either have to clean it up or clean it out. So if you ever get to that point, like I am now, you know it's time to retire. But I do remember the job interview that where you were interviewing me for this. And I'm going on and on about all the stuff I did in broadcasting in Philadelphia and all the shows I'd done and the stuff for the network and all that. And then Jerry, in that little Zurek inquisitive face, looks at me and says, "But why do you want to teach here?" You did. And I was like, "Oh, wow, he's really smart. I think I'll stay." It's true. So when I came to Cabrini, I took a 50% pay cut from my corporate job, as I'm sure many of you did when you came here. But I didn't even think twice about it, because the corporate world sucks everything out of you. If you've been in it, you know. And Cabrini gives everything back to me. It gives me new enthusiasm every single year. When I was starting in the fall, I always had all these great ideas, possibilities to do. And working here fills me up with many opportunities over the past decades. It gave me the opportunity to learn and grow. The faculty development was always awesome, and everyone was always so sharing. I just love that stuff. Ed can tell you, I always came to all and stayed the full day and just really soaked everything up. I think it's fabulous. And the students who question and push us, they always fill you with enthusiasm as well as trepidation sometimes. Especially the comm students sometimes, right, Jill? Not you.
Probably. Probably.
And we always scramble to keep ahead of the curve, especially in our department, communication. We're always playing with new toys and trying out new stuff so we can always bring it in the classroom. And that does suck up a lot of your life, but it's kind of fun stuff. One of the things that I truly look forward to in my retirement is actually reading a novel instead of an equipment manual. Something that actually has a plot would be good. So that's a goal of mine when I retire. But Cabrini's been a home to my family, too. My two boys and Jerry's kids and other people's faculty peers that we were here at the same time, our children went to a preschool that was in this exact very place. The children's school was on campus, and it was torn down to make way for the Dixon Center. But that meant that when they were toddlers in preschool, I knew where they were, and I could stop here in between classes and participate in their preschool education. And they knew where my office was, and when I talked about Cabrini at home, they knew what I was talking about, and they felt like they knew the place. They knew most of the faculty and staff as little toddlers wandering around. And also, importantly, if I had an extra meeting or something to go to, I could always call up an early childhood major. I did. I would always call the chair of the ed department, and I'd say, "Who's your top?" Yeah, early childhood major. And then I'd get phone numbers and call them up. And Carl, cover your ears. My boys slept in more girls' dorm rooms. They did. So, page 2. So, but what kept me coming back mostly for all those evening meetings and faculty development were really my department colleagues, because we are really very close, and I don't think we've ever had a fight, never. I don't think we've ever fought over anything, and we've always supported each other's good ideas, and we've always agreed that the welfare of the students was the most important thing, and all of us were always willing to give that little extra to get the students where we wanted them to be, and knew that they could be if they worked hard and challenged themselves. And because of that, because we always supported each other in everything that we wanted to do, we had a truly innovative program. I think that that's not very common to have that kind of camaraderie when I talk to my peers at other institutions. But that's what really made our department cutting edge, was our willingness to take chances, and if we failed, we failed, but we all supported each other and took chances and tried new things. And I think that that's really what's fabulous about Cabrini, is you can always kind of go out on a ledge. If you're willing to do it, you can do it, and with the support of my colleagues in my department, it was possible. Constantly, walking down the hall, we'd do a 90-degree turn and change things. So that was really one of the things that kept me going for over 3 decades in the department. It's just the innovation and the support. So I think I'm really one of the luckiest people here at Cabrini, because I got so much out of the college, and I have the opportunity to continue in the spring. I just got an adjunct contract today in the mail. I was like, really? Okay. So I'm going to be teaching in the spring and working on other projects as we transition. And Jerry asked me to help write the want ad for my replacement, and I told him, I think I'm writing my obituary. What are you doing here? That was very strange. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to teach part-time, because going cold turkey would certainly be very painful, as you guys know that have been there before me. So I have several ideas about my retirement. In conclusion, I think I'm about to take off my freshman 15. Couldn't be bad. I think I'm going to read a lot of books that have a plot. I think I'm going to garden even more than I do. I'm a crazy gardener. And I'll have more time to work in the community with organizations that I'm already working with. And my husband Ed's nightmare is that I'll run for political office.
That's awesome.
I don't know that I'll do that. But it's a great threat. But I'll have more time to spend with my family, which is really important to me. And I'm so glad that my oldest son was working and he couldn't be here with my grandson. But I figured out that I've taught over 1,000 students basic video production. Wow. So I figured I'd crowdsource some jokes this morning. So I went on Facebook. You didn't see that post? I did. I said, keep it from Jerry. Cabrini grad, send me some jokes that I could say in my presentation this afternoon. So Katina Correo, who graduated from here and has spent 20 years as a professional comic in comedy clubs in New York City, she sent me one. She said, this is a groaner. She said, tell them, my hands are going to be really heavy now because I'll have so much time on my hands. And Lauren Height, who graduated 2 years ago, she said, go look in the joke book that I gave you when I graduated. And she did. My jokes in class were so bad, she gave me a joke book. She did. And Mark Murray, who was a student, I guess in the early 90s, I guess he graduated?
80s.
80s? Oh, dude. He sent me to a website called Funny Teacher Retirement Jokes. So I think I better check his work for plagiarism. And then there's Rob Marish, who's been working in video production since he graduated, at least 2 decades. He's really a talented guy. And he said, quote, on Facebook this morning, thank goodness you're retiring because you'd probably be fired for the jokes I'll write for your speech. And for all that, for all the students and all of my colleagues here, and especially those in my department, I thank you very much. This is very touching. Thank you.
So anyone who would like to, we have a 5-minute version of alumni speaking about Cathy, and also a 20-minute version. We're just gonna put it on a loop, so if you wanna come in here and watch it. Certainly bring.
No, you watch it twice and you start using
You're all good. So,
And
you
don't
know,
leave any food or
Right, bring
booze
drinks.
allowed.
Am I by the button? I don't wanna get my.
down a little bit more. Now, good.